I'm in Mallaig in the Scottish Highlands. It's on the west coast, about an hour's northwest of the big mountain, Ben Nevis. And I'm here because between April 21 and March 22, this place had the highest driving test pass rate in the whole of Great Britain. The pass rate was 87.1%. But before you get ideas of booking your test here, there is a catch. It's quite remote. The nearest major city is Glasgow, and that's 2.5 hours away. And if you wanted to get here from London, well, with stops, realistically, it's going to take you over 12 hours. And good luck finding a test. There's no test centre. There's no examiner. That place is a community centre. And one day each month, an examiner travels from Glasgow to here to do tests. And between April 21 and March 22, there were just 31 tests conducted, but only 4 people failed. So why is the pass rate here so high? I think it's got something to do with the fact that there aren't many roads around here. The whole place is kind of a dead end. There's one main road in, and you have to take the same main road to go out unless you get on a boat and go across the water. I managed to find 2 old test routes. In fact, I think there were only 2 routes. One was in one direction and the other was sort of the same route but in the other direction. Since 2017, when the driving test was updated, they would have had to change those routes to suit the new test. And the DVSA don't hand out test routes anymore. But I know what they have to include on test. And I've looked at a map, and judging by where the roads are, there isn't much choice in the route they'll be able to take. So I've planned a route and I'm going to try it and see what it's like. So here goes. I've set the route in the sat-nav. Let's get the engine on. And I'm going to turn the lights on because it is a bit gloomy, and that'll just brighten up these dials so you can see them better. And my windscreen is covered in what looks like salt. I haven't been here long. I think that's from the sea. That is the Atlantic Ocean, or it does lead directly to the Atlantic Ocean. So let's clean the window at the front. Back one looks okay. And let's leave the car park. I'm not sure if the test would actually start in this car park, although it makes sense it will because it's right next to the community centre, which is where the tests are carried out. I can see someone coming. Nope, he's giving way to me, so I'll continue out of here. And it's quite cheap to park here, £1 for 2 hours. I'm not sure how they do that on the test. So right out of here, and my sat-nav, come on, give me better directions. Ah, good, it's telling me to go right. Fairly easy so far. Onto a 30 road, that becomes a national speed limit very quickly. It's very beautiful, this part of Scotland. I highly recommend coming to the Highlands if you've not been here before. It's just a drive away if you live in Great Britain. So, national speed limit, let's make the most out of that. 60 miles per hour. Doesn't mean I have to do 60. I'm just going to try and be safe, but make the most of it. I do find where I live, I'm usually one of the faster cars on these kinds of roads, but in Scotland, I'm often one of the slower cars. Needs adjusting a little bit from where I put the camera up. Yeah, on the way here, I pulled over a couple of times to let people pass me because they want to go faster. The Isle of Skye, that's the fastest place I've ever driven, by a long shot actually. People drive really fast there. So there's not a lot happening. 1.5 miles until my turn. I'm going to put the cruise control on just to help me here for a bit. I think I might have to speed parts of this video up if there's not a lot happening and not a lot to say. We've got 2 lanes here, so I'm going to keep it left. This area is to allow faster cars to get past slower cars. There's a sign on the left saying that it's no longer going to be 2 lanes soon. That triangular sign. Just checking my mirror to see if anyone's merging with me there. There's a parking sign, 400 yards. Beautiful scenery. How many cars have we seen so far? And this is 10:25 on a Wednesday. In fact, driving from Fort William to here, and that is a good drive. That was one of the best drives I've had. Very enjoyable. There wasn't a car behind me during that whole journey. In fact, I didn't see many oncoming cars come past me either. On the way to Fort William from England overnight, that's when I had to be pulling over every so often and let people pass, because it was dark and wet. I didn't know the roads, and there were some big holes in some of the roads, so I didn't feel confident going all that quickly. And neither did I want to hold people up, so I let them pass. Looks like I need to turn left here. So mirrors signal, start slowing down, sort of like a slow down lane to turn left. I believe I'm in a different place entirely now. I believe I'm in a place called Mallaig, if that's how you say it. I hope I got Mallaig right. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that well. It's a give way line here, so I have to give way to people from the right coming in there. There we go, Mallaig, that's what it says on the sign there. And a 30 limit. Some street lamps. Try and keep it within the speed limit. 20, it says there, 20 when lights flash, and they're not flashing, so it's not a 20 at the moment. So I have to continue to the next waypoint. Zebra crossing. Can't see both sides quite clearly yet. Yeah, that looks clear. Quite a steep hill here. This is where they could get you to do the hill start. In fact, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I guess they'll get you to do here. So I'm just going to pull over on the left here in this 30. No one around, so I don't have to signal at the side of the road like so. And then do the hill start. Easy enough. I guess that's where they'll get you to do it, because that's quite a steep hill and it's quite safe to pull over there. There's this green area on the right. Oh, the lights are flashing now, so it is 20. Just saw it in my mirror, the 20 sign. Yeah, I'm not sure what this green area on the right is for. I haven't seen any signs or symbols for it. Kind of looks a bit like a cycle lane, but I've not really seen that before. So that's 20 behind me. It's not 20 here, it's a 30 now. Got a level crossing, very narrow here, so I'm going slow in case there's an oncoming car. There's a parked car on the left with an oncoming car. Make sure they get past first. And going to ignore the lights now because I'm too close to stop if they change. That's slamming on the brakes over the level crossing and another national speed limit road. This doesn't look like one where I will actually be getting to 60. That's the next waypoint. I need to continue to the next one. That's how I plan the route. I've got to plan it with waypoints to do the circle and go exactly where I want to go. I've got to take a left in 130 yards. Whoop, here. Is it here? Ooh, is that the road? No, that's not the road. The road is in front of me. It looked like it was just there on the sat-nav. Oh, no harm done. And we're in what looks like, ooh, is this a road or someone's driveway? Max tonnage is 10 tons, and I think it said 7 foot, max 7'6" wide. Now I'm looking for passing places, places where I can pull over to let oncoming cars go, and where they can pull over to let me go. Looks bad, this road, but it doesn't feel too bad. I'm certainly not going to be doing 60 down here. It's still national speed limit, but that's kind of irrelevant. That's just freedom. It's just basically, don't worry, just be sensible and safe. There's obviously been no reason to implement a low speed limit here, because not many people drive here, and I guess people drive quite safely. Going downhill now, you probably can't see that on camera, but I can certainly feel it. Not needing to use the gas much. A little bit of a hump here. It's quite a noisy road, but it's relatively smooth. Yeah, max width 7'6". Slowing down, just keeping it left in case there's an oncoming car. And I'm going to go right at the end here. Well, the sat-nav's not telling me that. That's what I've got to do, and that is a beautiful sight. So, looks clear, no surprise there. There's a passing place on the left. I'm going to go in there in case there's a car coming around that bend have a look to see who's coming. Yeah, it looks clear, so I'll continue. Road still is relatively smooth. It just looks bad. On the wrong side of the road now on a bend, so going slow. You can see a little bit more. Getting a bit more bumpy now. Definitely single track. Plenty of places to stop and pass each other though, and on the bends, very important. So again, I'm just going to go into this place here, check to see who's coming, and then as I can see no one's coming, go down the straight, and there's another passing place again on the next bend. So I'll slow it down into second gear. Not meeting any cars. I don't feel I'm likely to meet many cars. There's a new barrier on the left, but there is water just there, so that is appreciated. Very narrow here. If you met someone here, you would have to reverse. I really couldn't see very much over that the brow of that hill. Aha, end of the road, going left. So mirror signal left. Actually quite open this one, good view, leave it in second, just rolling out. That was a bit bumpy. Double bend and narrow road. So very slow here, in case someone's coming the other way. This is where it's narrow. Underneath this archway on this narrow bridge. I think that's actually what they meant, this narrow bit here. Haven't seen any speed limit changes, so it should still be a national speed limit. I'm just driving sensibly. I think I've been doing around about 20 through most of that, but road's starting to get better now. Road surface, quality of it, the width, and how far I can see, so I can get going a little bit faster. Just braking here now. Down into third gear. Up a hill here. Hills don't come across on camera. I've learnt that doing these videos. Oh, going right at the end here onto the main road. Give way. Car from the right. I can easily make that, so I'm going to get going. They're turning in there now anyway. Still national speed limit, so I get the speed up. Nice and smoothly. No race, no rush. Just gradually let the numbers rise up to a point where it feels comfortable, or to the ceiling, the limit, how fast I'm allowed, which is 60, and I can easily achieve that here. I feel like I could go faster, but I'm not allowed to. So I'm going about 60 miles an hour, as I feel that's safe. Caution, looks like a rhino. Yeah, the sign, it looked like a picture of a rhino in the triangle. Warning, rhinos around. I don't think there are rhinos in Scotland, maybe in a zoo, but not roaming around the Highlands. Use the cruise control again to help me get the most out of the limit without keep looking at the speedo. I think the road on the right up here is the road I turned into, so I've sort of gone round in a circle around Morar, and now I'm going back to Mallaig. I think that's how you say it. I went on YouTube, which is where you're watching this video, and I searched Mallaig and watched some videos to see how other people were saying it, and that is how they were saying it. Lots of places to park around here. That is something I do love about driving in Scotland. People do pull over to let you pass if you're faster than them, particularly when you really get up into the north, like where Ullapool is, and right up the top corner. And there's a very beautiful beach I've been to. You have to walk a couple of hours. It's called Sandwood Bay. Went there a couple of years ago. You have to go there to understand the beauty. A picture does not explain it. It's more of a feel and the sound of the ocean, and just how isolated it is. But you drive all the way around the top of Scotland. A lot of it's single track, but it's quite quick, it's enjoyable, you don't meet much traffic, and if you do catch up with someone, usually at a passing place, they pull over and let you pass. I guess it's not busy, so you can do that. If it was busy, you'd be pulling over all the time, so you don't do that. So I've got double lines on my right, so I shouldn't be overtaking. The two lanes to the right of me are for oncoming cars, they're not for me. Although it looks like here I can use that if I want to, given the road markings are now a broken line on my side. still national speed limit. Oh, I've got to go right here. I had to slow down quite quickly there. You know what? That would probably be a fail on a test, but, well, actually, no, it shouldn't be, because I checked behind, there was no one behind, it wasn't dangerous, but that wouldn't happen on test, because on test you'd be getting directions from your examiner, or the sound would be on the sat nav. I was busy talking to you and I nearly missed my turn. I checked my mirror, saw that it was safe for me to slow down quickly, and took the turn. But if there was someone behind me there, I would have carried on. I wouldn't have stopped. I wouldn't have taken the turn. It was too quick. Coming up to a 30 now. Mallaig. Continue to the next point. Another hill here is where they could do the hill start. You also need to do an angle start. You need to do a manoeuvre. I did see on the map, it looked like there was a place you could possibly do the angle start somewhere here. I'm going to go down to the second gear because I can't see very far. Oh, really couldn't see over that brow at all, and I want the extra torque. If there's any car parks around, you can pull into a car park and do a manoeuvre there. If there's a parked car at the side of the road, you can pull up behind it and do the angle start, which is when you pull away when you're quite close behind a car. I think there's some parking spaces up here where you could do the reverse park into a bay manoeuvre. Again, 20 when lights flash, but there's no lights flashing. If I was going the other way, I could have done the angle start with that white car I passed. There's always the option, obviously, to turn the route around and go in the opposite direction. So these routes do require fairly good car control skills, knowing your gears. I mean, in an automatic, doesn't matter, just press the gas. But in a manual, you need to know how to use your gears on the hill, downhill and uphill. But it doesn't require much traffic skill. There we go, some cars on the right. So if I was coming the other way, I could pull up behind one of those and do an angle start. Try not to miss my turn again. I'll keep an eye on the sat nav. And here are some spaces on the left where I could do the reverse bay park in there. Zebra crossing. Very beautiful little village going downhill. I'm in second gear because I want the extra engine braking. Going left at the end of the road. So mirror signal left. Definitely want first gear here just to get a better view both ways. Give myself more time. Person is waiting. She's not walking in front of me. Well, she's walking towards me, but not in front of me. And I've arrived. Where's the next waypoint? Well, I'm slowing down now because that car just sort of swung its nose out in front of me. Going ahead. Second exit. Looks clear. Indicate left to leave the roundabout. I don't think I would have hit the car that was swinging its nose out, but I wasn't sure how much they were going to swing out, so I thought I'd just stop just in case. Down into first gear. It's not entirely clear where this road goes. There's no markings. Is this the end? Is it a bend? The sat nav says it's a bend. So I'm going to slow down here just in case people are coming from the right. There's no road markings, so therefore there's no one's priority. And it's best just to check to make sure. Looks like a small industrial estate, and it bends to the right. Again, no road markings here, so just slowing down, checking both ways. Looks clear. You know what? There's no real need to signal. I did it anyway. There's no one around, and yet this is a bend again, according to the sat nav. That is. And I've got to go right here. I'm not sure if they would include this bit on the test route. When I was looking at the map, it looked like it might be all right, but now I'm actually here. It's just kind of like a mass of loosely broken land. It's not really road with road markings. So right at the end here. Some road markings. Barely see them because of the sun, and a zebra crossing. Very clear. And going ahead, second exit. Traffic lights, going to ignore them now. And going to go right back into the car park where the community centre is, where I believe they do the tests. It's on the DVSA's website, that's the address for the test centre here. I had an oncoming car I need to wait for. That's unusual around here. And let's finish up by reversing into a parking space. Take my choice. Well, I've got the sun on my left, so I want the sun behind me. So I'm just going to signal next to this bay here to tell them that I'm going to be here. I'm going to do reverse park, cancel the signal now, look round, swing out and reverse in. Now the reason why I want the sun behind me, because the sun doesn't really work with my cameras very well. My cameras don't work with the sun very well, should I say. And I get the lovely view of the ocean. During the test, there would also possibly be an emergency stop as well, following the sat-nav, which I was doing but with the sound off, so it didn't interrupt the video too much. And the show and tell questions like cleaning the front window, which I did, or how do you check your oil, that kind of question, and one manoeuvre, which would be, like I just did, reversing into a parking space or driving forwards into a parking space, then reversing out. The reversing out is an important part of that manoeuvre. Parallel park, which is when you're parking on the road, and pulling over on the right and reversing. Nearly forgot that one. So there we are. That's what it's like to do a driving test in the place with the highest pass rate in Great Britain, or at least the highest pass rate between April 21 and March 22. Each year that is going to change, and in fact it could change quite dramatically because there's so few tests here that each test actually has a big impact on the pass rate percentage. It's not unfeasible that one year everybody could pass. It's easy to pass here because there aren't many roads to use, there aren't many junctions, it's fairly straightforward and simple, and there isn't much traffic. But you do have to have better than average car control skill when it comes to dealing with narrow roads and hills, because it is quite hilly. You do need to use the lower gears to go up the hill and down the hill, and you are probably going to meet someone at some point on the test in a narrow place where you will need a passing place or someone may need to reverse. Now you could say that I failed my driving test, rather embarrassingly, in one of the easiest places to pass in the country, but that's not really realistic, because if it was a test, I would have just carried on. I wouldn't have braked hard to take the turn. It's not a fail to miss your turn. It's not even a minor mark on the test, but I'm making this video. I really wanted to make that turn so I could do the route and not have to do another take. I've got a long way to get home from here, so I do want to get going. And if it was a test, I would have had the sound on the sat-nav, so I would have had more warning and I would have been concentrating more on my directions, or I wouldn't have even been following the sat-nav. The examiner would have been giving me directions. And that is an example of how driving in the real world is a bit different to driving on test. On test, you are solely focused on driving. In the real world, you should be solely focused on driving, but in reality, you might have a baby crying in the back or a toddler repeatedly asking you questions, which is quite distracting, or your friends. It's okay to brake hard as long as you check it's safe first. I brake hard for even small animals if I can see that it's not going to cause any harm, but if there's a car close behind, then I won't. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up, and if you're looking for car insurance, check out the links to Collingwood and Confused in the description. If you're learning to drive and want to insure yourself on somebody else's car, then Collingwood are there for you, because you can do so without affecting the owner's policy, and that takes away a big stress from the owner of that car. Via the link, there's up to 35% off and a £20 Amazon gift card. If you want to insure your own car, I recommend checking out the link to confused.com. You fill out one quote form and get loads of quotes back from many insurers to compare who's cheapest. And you can change your car on that quote form as many times as you like without having to redo the whole quote form. So it's a handy way to compare how much it costs to insure different cars if you're shopping around for cars. Using the links doesn't cost you anything, but it does support the channel, so thank you very much. Subscribe to get my future videos, and until the next one, cheerio.